Hi, I'm Darren.
Hi, I'm Sharina.
Hi, I'm Nur Asmida.
Hi, I am Zairi.
Hi, I'm Nurnisha Farhain.
The separations of power in Malaysia's system are similar with English legal system in United Kingdom separation of power rather than United States. This is because there is no separation of executive and legislative power because of the cabinet type of organization. This fusion of legislative and executive functions is inherent in the Westminster system.
The federal government adopted the principle of separation of power under Article 127 of the Federal Constitution and has three branches: executive, legislative, and judicial. The state government in Malaysia also have executive and legislative body of each. The judicial system in Malaysia is a federal court system that operates uniformly across the country.
Separation of power refers to the division of government into branches. This is due to ensure that each has different powers and responsibility so that one branch does not conflict with another branch. The purpose of the separated power system is to prevent centralization of power and to provide inspection and balance. One of the criteria of a parliamentary democracy system is the division of power into three parts of government, namely legislative, judiciary, and executive. The first power is legislative. Legislative is a deliberative council to enact law for political entities. Legislative is also an important part of most governments. Its function is to make laws and is followed by the law enforcement as well as adjudication function. Thus, in ancient times, the law comes from customs, tradition, and religion scripture, or it was issued by the king as the order. In fact, this legislative is also the formulates that will state into law and is give a nature of law. Other than that, the second power is judiciary. Judiciary, a court system that adjudicate legal disputes, interprets, defends, and applies the rule of law contained in cases. Not only that, it also enforced by the court and established by the federal government. Judiciary role is to protect the rule of law of the country so that aggression does not occur. Moreover, it was also established is to ensure the rule of law order to protect the rights of individual, resolve disputes that occur in accordance with established sheriff law. Last but not least, executive also part of government that exercise integrity and holds the responsibility to govern the country. The function is to implement and enforce the law. When there is a violation of the law, it's responsibility of the executive to prosecute the offender. Executive branch can conduct diplomacy and the president has the power to negotiate and sign agreements that have been ratified by the Senate.
One of the issues about separation of power in Malaysia is doctrine of separation of power in Malaysia. It is the supreme legislation of the country that incorporates three fundamental concepts. One of these is the fact that there are certain basic rights that the state's power cannot intrude upon. The second concern is the allocation of sovereign authority between the states and the federation, which the 13 states exercise in problems affecting the nations as a whole sovereign authority in local matters and the nation. One of the expressions of the doctrine is absolute power corrupts absolutely. In other words, when a power such as the power to govern, legislate, and adjudicate disputes is placed on a person or an organ only. Next, government is not a subject like check and balance. This will open the door for a government to abuse power for autocratic rule. Ideally, as a country with a written constitution like Malaysia, we should adopt a system of constitutional supremacy, where the constitution is the main force in the country's democratic system. Article 4 in 1 declares that this constitution is the supreme law of the federation and any law passed after Merdeka Day, which is inconsistent with this constitution shall, to the extent of the inconsistency, be void. The adoption of constitutional supremacy has tremendous implications for any legal order. In the context of Malaysia, the most important consequence are constitution is the highest law. The second one, parliament is not supreme. The third one is substantive limits. The constitution is the supreme law of the federation, which is the highest law of the land and the law of laws.
Thank you, Zairi. Next, I'm gonna present the conclusion. In the end, Malaysia is a country that really appreciates the separation of powers among the executive, legislative, and judicial departments. This is because it offers the safeguard against the other. Judicial independence is the foundation of a functional democracy, and also it treats all people equally in the eyes of the law. The principle of the separation of powers is an important component to apply to in a relation to the concept of the constitutionalism. Other than that, if the concept is not followed by all the organs of the government, it will result in uncontrolled abuse of the authority, which is obviously contrary to the principles of the limited government. The differences in the application of this theory may attribute to the nation's governance system, such as Malaysia has a responsible government model as opposed to the United States, which is the country has an independent government. However, the critical is that the value remains intact in the operation of both administrations. That's all from our group. Thank you for listening.